Hey guys!
Hello!
Here we are. We are live with Dean and Kate, and it is
Monday Night Live.
We didn't even plan that, and it still went awesome.
It worked great. Monday Night Live with Dean and Kate. Super stoked to be back and have an opportunity to share with you. We are here at Turningleaf Wellness Center in sunny St. George, Utah. We're getting a little bit of moisture right now, which isn't too bad.
No,
we'll take it.
You can't be sad when the rains come when you live in the desert.
Yes.
You just have to be grateful.
Yes. For those of you not in the in St. George area, our annual rainfall is 6 inches per year. That's not a lot.
How do you know all this stuff?
It's amazing what I know.
We should go on Jeopardy.
It's all up here. Anyway, Michigan gets that in like a day.
Yeah.
So those people are like, what? Well, I'm Dean Nixon, and this is my co-host, Kate Semmens. So again, there's Casey popping up on Facebook already, one of our regular viewers. Hi, and super excited to get started. I am taking your role. I'm saying super excited.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about it in our family support group tonight, and because Dean threw himself under the bus in our last live and said, "Oh, I just said for the second time." And I said, "Do not count how many times I say super. Okay, that's not nice."
Super excited.
Super excited.
So now I'm saying super excited for her. Well, tonight's topic we wanted to talk a little bit about was something that was really unique. We were talking about it before group tonight. Group started at 6 here in St. George, so Mountain Standard Time, and goes to 7:30. And prior to group, I was talking to Kate. One of the things I really wanted to talk about is for us as parents, how we need to let go, or specifically grandparents.
Yes.
Grandparents. And I said, I really want to talk about that in our live tonight. Oddly enough, we get into our support group. I didn't have anything to do with it.
No, it just happened. Yeah. And it was a bulk of the topic of our conversation was how to let go, how to let your children go off into the big bad world, and how to not worry and consume and try to control, all of those things. So it's pretty cool that we just spent an hour and a half talking about it. And so we really want to bring that with you guys.
Now we want to keep talking. We spent the last little bit. And it's so important for us to really recognize that. And what I love about the group, the support group, is it's such a diverse group. So we've got young people in it who are struggling maybe with their spouses. We've had young people, even young as teenagers, coming in to support their parents that are in recovery, and also grandparents. And some of the grandparents are dealing with their children and their addiction, and their grandchildren's addictions, but also just dealing with children in their own home, or even grandchildren in their home. And that's where it came to me today, as I was thinking about grandparents and how hard it is oftentimes with the dynamics that are shifting in our world. A lot of parents are raising their grandchildren.
Right, yes.
And as they're raising their grandchildren, they're struggling because it's now, you watch a grandparent, they raise their grandchild, and that grandchild turns 18, 19, 20 years of age. And they're like, what do I do? How do I let go? How do I transition forward? Yeah. And so that's where a lot of that came from, but it really applies to letting go of our children, applies in a lot of ways.
Right. And so the question that just kept coming up in group tonight was and really, Dean, is it a control issue? Is it fear? I mean, is it all of it, as far as when it's difficult for us as adults, or for someone who's been in a caretaker role, right? Parent, grandparent, all those kinds of things, to let the flock go out there and potentially fail, right? Potentially royally screw up their life. Yeah. And in group we have, because it's support groups for families with addicts, but anyone's welcome. And so we really do catch that.
It's very diverse. It started that way, but we now have every walk that you can think of.
Yeah, anything, which is a super cool thing that the culture has just kind of created in that. But the fear that kept coming up in group tonight is my child has had these behaviors in the past, and now they're like out with friends later, and they like, and then the questions start coming like, where are they? Are they dead? Are they, have they got back into their subs? You know what I mean? All of those things. So what are the kind of driving factors, and maybe that's how we can help address it?
Yes, absolutely. The first thing that we have to look at is we've got to look at what our control really is. And we talked a little bit about it in group tonight. Is the first thing that we can do as parents, as grandparents, as family members, even if it's a sibling that we're dealing with, and for some of our younger viewers on Instagram, even if it's a friend, in your friend group that is now transitioning down a path that you're a little bit nervous about. The main thing for us to do, the first thing to start with, is we have to control what we can, and that is our imagination. We have to put boundaries around what we allow ourselves to awfulize over. We tend to awfulize. We run things to the worst case scenarios. We think about, as one of our group participants shared, she's not going to mind me quoting her. I won't say who it was, but she said, I had you kidnapped, gagged, and chopped into little bits.
In an unmarked grave.
In an unmarked grave. And not that, unfortunately, in our world, sadly, unfortunately, sadly, in our world, sometimes those things happen. But what we do oftentimes is we awfulize that. We allow our minds to run wild. That puts fear in us, and that fear causes us to overreact or over control. And a lot of it's because we're trying to save, protect, or over control. And so we can't control that part. I can't control my awfulizing. I can't control the imagination. I can't control what I allow my brain to consume. And that's the first thing that I have to do. Right.
So to really get in check with what you're thinking about.
Right.
How you're allowing yourself to imagine everything. So what's the next one?
The next one is that I have to really focus on developing the relationship. And how do I develop the relationship enough that that individual is going to engage me, or that I can engage them in a conversation that is beneficial? So if I'm trying to control everything, I want to be able to create a conversation where the child or the adult child now feels safe, or that they want to come to me for counsel, to talk to me. But if all I'm ever doing, and this is the part we talked about, shameless plug for value-based parenting workshop that we just had. We were just talking about that in the value-based parenting workshop, is we tend to use fear-based logic to motivate people in our lives. And I see it in spouses. It's like, listen, honey, you need to go talk to Billy because I'm pretty confident that all of these horrible things are happening because that's what I've been imagining. So now you've now got these horrible things in your mind. So now you go talk to Billy about it. And it compounds. It's like, oh my gosh, now I'm taking that fear and I'm taking my fear, and then I'm going to go and vomit my fear all over the child. And they're like, I don't want to hear this. This is not what I want to hear. Instead of opening up a dialogue or creating a rapport with the child where they value what we have to say, and because we're not using fear to combat them. It's okay for us to open conversations. It's okay for us to have dialogue and talk to them about things, but it's how we're doing it is the important thing. And that's one of the things we covered in the class is the communication piece. And the communication is absolutely critical.
Right. Because as humans, we're going to have fear. Like that's going to come up for us, right? So I guess, like you're saying, as long as we cannot allow our imagination to run wild and then just communicate to get to actually what's happening and the facts and stay in the now, then that'll help us bypass a lot of that heartache.
Absolutely. We have to deal with what is factual, not what we assume is going to happen. And we can assume that things are going to happen, and we can awfulize them and picture them in our heads and then try and counter it and create more of an internal conflict or dialogue, or we simply deal with the information that's in front of us.
Right. So I see this happening twofold, and so maybe we can address both audiences. So we're talking about even just in general allowing our children to do stuff, right? So minors and adult children.
Right.
So we've talked a little bit on different lives about like the failure to launch,
Mhm.
right? Like,
Yes.
and getting coping skills and everything to be able to like go out and take healthy risks,
Yes.
get your own apartment, get a job, all those kinds of things.
Fly, little bird.
That's right. So, how do we bat like the failure, combat?
Bat or combat. You
One
can
of
bat
them.
it.
Don't beat your kids.
Don't. That's not what we're about.
No, but how do we help a adult child who's failing to launch when we keep all the control, right? Like
Right, exactly.
Like that's such a push-pull struggle.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's one of the challenges that we have is a child's like ready to go and they're wanting to move forward, which is what we want. But then we're like, okay, well, how are you going to pay your rent? Okay, well, then how are you going to pay your car insurance? Okay, then how are you going to do this? How are you going to do that? How are you going to do this? Instead of sitting down and having a conversation of, okay, so here's some things that you want to be aware of. How can I help you learn, or how can I help you prepare to do that? And that's going to be the key, the different stance that we want. One is a fear-based, instilling fear in the child. The other one's going to be, here's some things to be aware of. If you want help with those things, I have a lot of information and knowledge.
Right. So being just that support that they can fall back onto.
Yes, because we need them. And that's another thing we were talking about in group tonight. We alluded to a little bit of it in the value-based parenting class on Saturday as well, is that the world that we live in, the consequences are a little bit more delayed than they were before. So 150 years ago, consequences were immediate. If you didn't take care of the livestock, there was an immediate consequence. There was an immediate cause and effect. In the world that we're living in today, cause and effect still exists, but the effect comes later. There's this need, even in us as parents, we want the child to have immediate consequences.
Yeah.
We want that natural consequence to happen now. And so when that natural consequence doesn't come now, then we feel like, well, now we've got to show them all the natural consequences that could happen. And then what happens is we create where children don't trust us because we keep throwing all these fear-based scenarios that never happen.
Right.
And then, it works once or twice where the kid's like, super scared and they're like, oh my gosh. But after a while, when things don't evolve, then the child stops trusting the parents' guidance. And so we want to step back from that. We've need to understand that sometimes those natural consequences take time. And most importantly, natural consequences are okay. It's okay for somebody to suffer. It's okay for somebody to struggle.
Right.
We can't keep wrapping and insulating everybody so that nobody's feelings get hurt or that people don't struggle or there's not challenges. And sometimes we have to let people go out and struggle and make a muck of their lives to really go, maybe I should have listened.
Right. And how else are they going to build resiliency, which is what we were talking about on
last
Friday.
week. Yeah.
Right?
Or on Friday. Yeah.
Yeah. To be able to go in and have a struggle and then be able to bounce back from it and become stronger.
Yes.
Like that's the only way that you're going to cultivate that thing. What is resiliency?
What is resiliency? Is the ability to respond to defeat or adversity consistently.
Right. So is it a skill or is it
It is.
Okay. So it's a skill.
It is a skill. And resiliency is one of those things, again, going back 150 years, where crops would be devastated or things would happen and parents would teach and families would learn through teaching and evolution that things don't last forever. And pain doesn't last forever. Trials don't last forever. They eventually come to a close. And when they do, then we sit back and go, what did I learn? What am I learning? What can I take from this? And how do I apply it now? Like, for example, one of the things that we're seeing happening right now, 2008, we had a big bubble burst here in the United States. As a consequence of that, people are a lot more aware of where they are financially. They're a little bit less apt to jump and expense. We're not seeing the elaborate spending as was before. Even though the housing market is roaring back, people are a little bit more careful because they don't want to overextend themselves. So that natural consequence is going to come. And that's the other thing. I had so many people during that period of time They were so frustrated. I lost everything. I lost my savings. I put it all in the market. I put it all in these 401ks. We lost our retirement. We lost this. We lost that. And they were devastated. But the amazing thing is I know those people still, and they're fine. They all bounced back. They all were able to learn from it. Was it hard? Yes. Did they have to get a second job? Yes. Did they have to go work and do things they didn't want to do? Yes. But everybody bounces back. And we never learn resilience until we have a trial or struggle we have to bounce back from.
Right. Which is a lesson that I'm still learning, being a recovering enabler, as I like to call it.
Yes. It's a hard thing.
It's a hard thing. But that idea, I think that is something too, to speaking to the parents and grandparents and people that have a difficult time letting, these adult children get out there and try to launch and fail. Like all those things are hard, but you're like, I'll speak for myself. Like when I rush in as the superhero to save everything, like I rob that experience from the person that I'm saving for them to build their resiliency. Absolutely.
But here's the best part about it.
I'm so excited.
You ready? I hope everybody still stay tuned, because this is the best part. What if they don't fail? What if they succeed? Even better.
Even better.
Even better. And here's the thing, however, if you spent the whole time loading them with fear-based logic and then they succeed, now your relationship and your rapport really has been destroyed.
Right.
Now it really has been pulled apart. So we don't want to be discouraging. We want to be supportive. We want to be aware. We want to be teaching. We want to be approachable. And heaven forbid, maybe they'll succeed. But how many people aren't even taking risks anymore because they've been scared to death?
Right. Scared
of, well, what about this? What about that? You're not this. And, all these trials and struggles, instead of stepping back and going, suck it up, buttercup. You can do this. You can become whatever you choose to be. You can become the strongest, better, most powerful person you've ever been in your life. Just suck it up.
Get to work.
You can do it.
So I want to jump over here to Facebook really quick, because we're having some really great comments happening. Angie says, great topic. My son just went off to college and it's been a struggle.
Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let him to let him struggle is very, very hard.
Right. And that's what Angie said. Letting go of your children is very hard. And then Mandy says, sadly true. Yeah, it is a difficult one, right?
It is. It is. It's a challenge. And to be able to let go is a really important confidence building thing. And for us as adults, it helps us have more confidence in the next generation coming up. I always tell people, when they're going, these millennials, and I catch myself. I will catch myself. My kids will tell you. I will be one of the first to be like, oh, these millennials. But the thing that's funny is we're the ones that raised them.
Exactly.
We raised them. And I think that's the piece that we have to recognize. If we raise them, then we're the solution, a part of the solution. And we've got to teach and be teaching and be teachable.
Right. It's a good one. We could probably talk on it forever.
All night, and time's already gone. It's crazy how fast it goes. Well, thank you everybody again for tuning in. It's been great. The support, the response. Thank you for liking and sharing our videos. We have our YouTube channel that you can get to through our links. It has all of our videos in one space, or you can find them here on the Turningleaf Wellness Center page. Yeah, and it would be super cool if you guys would go and subscribe to that so that we could start building a little bit of buzz over there. That would be awesome. Absolutely. So we've got some dates coming up. We've got listen, we have like every single level of seminar happening within the next month and in the next 6 weeks. It's awesome. Yeah. So we have the level 1 coming up the 18th through the 20th. This is a life-changing process. Those of you that know and have been through this, that are watching this, please make sure you grab somebody, send them the link to this video, let them know that there are options out there. It is a life-changing. You'll never feel better, more grounded, and it's not one of those experiences that you have to have something wrong with your life to go through. It's timing. And those of you that are struggling, going through experiences in your life where you want to restart, or maybe you're just stuck in business and you need help and you're wanting that next piece. So that's the 18th through the 20th. Level 4, for all you level 4s out there, the seminar. So forgive me. Level 1 is called Awakening. Level 4 is called empowerment, and that's coming up on the 26th through the 27th of October.
It's my level 4.
Yes, Kate
I'm so
is
excited. I get so
stoked.
possessive over the levels that are my first one going through. I'm just like, it's mine.
Then we have a level 3 coming up again,
Mhm.
which is the 2nd and 3rd of November. I have to look at my calendar up here.
Mhm.
And then finally, we have a level 2, the 8th through the 10th of November, for those of you that are looking to move past and move beyond. Level 2 is called discernment. Level 3 is called empowerment.
Right.
Or balance.
Balance, yes. And I think it's important to point out that this is a series. So
They're
they build on each
sequential.
other.
Yep.
And in my mind, but this has been my experience, is like if you start level 1, get it through and get to level 4. So if you've been stuck at level 1 for a while, you might need to take a little bit of a healthy risk and dive into that level 2.
Yeah.
And see what it can create for you in your life. And then same for 2 and going into 3. Like they're all a part of the process. So
yes,
plan on doing that.
And they're a fun group.
Yes.
So we're excited about that. So we also do have our coaching packages going on. You can always find those on the website here, as well as other things. So thank you all for joining us tonight. Please like and share the videos and pass them on. Thank you to Kate the Great for bringing us into this new realm.
The world of the live.
The world of live. So thank you, everybody. Hope you all have a wonderful week.
Yes.
Join us this Thursday. So remember, we're not going to be doing Friday at 5 now.
Yep.
We're going to be doing our video on Thursday. So
happy October, by the way, as well.
yes.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.